Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Copperline Rattler Ranch. I am Julia. I didn't put a video out last week because there really wasn't a whole lot to show. We were waiting for the walls to dry out after the rains from the monsoon. We still have some more monsoon time. I'm not sure if that will actually get any more rain, but they're still on the meteorological books. The whole month of September is considered monsoon. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I'm not a meteorologist, so hey. Anyway, I did manage to finish this living room. Took a little bit longer because I had to wait for this area above where the slider will go to dry out, and it's about 90% dry, so I went ahead and finished that off. That was the last little bit I had to do. Got that done this morning. What I've got to do next is I'm going to be going into the bathroom and I'll be working on the walls in there. Use the same basic mix that I've been using so far for everything else inside, with one exception. I am going to add a small amount of borax. It's going to be borax that I actually dilute into some water. I'll add it to the water before I add the soil and the straw to that. And what this will do is it will kind of inhibit mold and mildew. I should say it will inhibit mildew. I don't think what I read said that it would actually inhibit mold, but mildew is a big thing too. We don't want mildew in the bathroom, so it's a step to help. So I'll be adding that into the batches. I'll show you how I dilute that a little bit. You don't need tons of it. Let me get the book. So the guide that we use for our building and for all of our construction ideas is Earthbag Building. This book, we don't recommend that you have to buy it. You don't have to. This is the one that we settled on. This is a book by Carrie Hunter and Donald Keffmeyer. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but before we started our journey, if you will, everybody calls it a journey, I did look at a number of publications on Earthbag Building. This book, to me, for our needs, seemed to be the most comprehensive, start to finish, how to make tools, how to make our little bag frame, what to expect, why certain things need to be certain ways, that kind of thing, and ideas, why you need buttresses, you know, that round is sound, and all that kind of stuff. How to do roofing, how to do your foundations, everything in this book. It seemed the most comprehensive, start to finish book for us. You may have another favorite that you like. If you do, share it and we'll take a look at it. But anyway, in here, Carrie Hunter, I shouldn't say Carrie, it's Khaki Hunter, suggests adding a small amount of borax to your mix in an area that you know will have a higher than normal moisture content in the air or whatever. So that's what we're going to do on the earth bag and cob walls in the bathroom area. There's only 2 walls. We're going to go ahead and add that to our mix. Now what she says that she does, or they, is that they will add a cup of the borax powder to a cup of water, clean water, dissolve it, and then add that mix to their water that they're going to put in their mix of cob. Now she also did say that that was enough for a mix that would fit in an average size wheelbarrow. I make smaller batches than that, so I'm only going to put probably about 1/3 of a cup of that diluted borax in the water before I add the soil and the straw. And I'm hoping that that actually will work. I have no reason to doubt her because I've been able to trust most everything she's, pretty much everything, I shouldn't say most everything, but everything that they've said in this book has worked out for us. So that's going to be the difference for these mixes that are going to go up in the bathroom. Also in the bathroom, in the area where the shower will be, I'm going to try my darndest to make that as smooth and as possible. It may not all be exactly level, but I want it to be smooth. We're going to go ahead and put a lime plaster and then a lime putty plaster on top of that in the shower area. And that way I can waterproof that, that layer, that final layer in the shower, so that I don't have to worry about the water either. So I will be adding, like I said, borax to the soil, the clay mix, and then the other 2 layers will be a layer of lime putty, or sorry, lime plaster, and then the layer of lime putty over the top that will get the sealant of the black olive oil soap diluted in water. And I'll show you that when we get to that. So that'll be a ways down the road. But hey, that's what we're doing today. All right, you can tell it's a pretty windy day. So I've got some measured. I actually just took a couple of cottage cheese cartons or yogurt cartons or whatever, and just drew a line where I want my measurements. So it's got to be equal parts. Equal part water, equal part borax. I wouldn't mix up tons of it in advance because it does kind of separate out. So I'm going to put that, I already had done a batch in here. Add my water in there, and then I'm just going to shake the heck out of it. And then this is what I will add to the water when we make our mix. I suppose you could probably add it to a lime plaster. Ooh, it's getting hot. A lime plaster as well. I just don't know if that would be wise. It is getting hot. I will tell you, there's a chemical reaction happening in there. And it looks a little foamy, but we're going to add that to our water. So it's going to be the same thing, the 5-gallon bucket of our clay-rich soil, 3 of my coffee tins full of my chopped straw, probably about 1/3 of that borax that I just mixed up. That will go in with the water. The water's going to go in first, and then I will start using it on the wall. Oops. Come on. Gotta get the fingers of the blood out. Got some water. Add an amount of water, not a ton, and then I'll add that borax to it and keep it mixing so it mixes well with the water that's in here. Yeah, that was hot water from the hose. And then I'll put the rest of my stuff in there and see how it turns out. Alright, that's all mixed. I'm making my mixes a little bit wetter than I'm used to be making, just because I want to go kind of a thin layer. One other thing I need to mention. We've got a couple of dogs. They like to drink the muddy water that's in my water bucket. I keep a water bucket handy when we're mixing, just to keep the hose rinsed off, keep any tools that we're using rinsed off. But since tools are coming in contact with that borax in the mix, I'm going to lift this up, put it on the table where the dogs can't get to it. I don't want them ingesting any of this borax. I'm not sure that it's bad, but I'm not taking any chances. So now they'll have to drink their water out of their bowls. I like to keep these clean. All right, let's get started. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the wall wet where I'm going to work. Nice and soaked. With any plaster, you get the surface you're going to be applying it to wet, damp, wet, basically damp. And I did use this tool for the entirety of the living room, and I really like how it worked out. So I'm going to go ahead and use it for the rest of the stuff, at least for what I'm putting this on. When I get to the lime plaster inside here in the bathroom, I might switch to another tool. This one still, though, I like it. And I know a lot of people are going to complain because it's tiny, but we have so many irregularities on these walls that the big rectangular type trowel, it just is too hard for me to manage right now. So I'm going to manage it with this. I know it's small, but this is how I'm doing it. So this is the mix that has the borax in it, and it does act a little differently. It's not quite as sticky, it seems to me, as the regular non-borax mud. At least not to my hands, not to the trowel. At least not to my hands or the trowel. So. But the lime needs to be able to grab onto this other layer. I am going to not smooth it out and leave this as a true scratch coat for the lime plaster to grab onto all these little ridges that I have in here. It'll also, that lime plaster will give me another opportunity to help get it even smoother, a little straighter, a little more level. Some people call it a leveling coat. Than what I'm able to do with this right now. So I'm going to take a few layers to build that up. But because of our collapse that we had last year, the entire building was affected. So that's why I have a whole lot more ridges than I really would like in this wall. All right, so in the bathroom, not only am I using the borax in the mix, but I'm making a true scratch coat. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. I'm not smoothing this out because we're going to be putting a layer of lime plaster and then a layer of lime putty that will make waterproof for the shower area and the bathroom area to help reduce that mildew, at least, problem. And any washing away. So when we get to that point, you'll see that. I'll show you a little bit of what I did yesterday. It's just more of the same. I'll just do a little fast action on that. But also what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to make it, it's not going to be perfectly flat, but all the little waves, I'm trying to get them as minimal as possible, trying to minimize those big wavy points so that when I do put on the the plaster, it'll be a lot smoother transition, and the plaster will also give me another opportunity to help make it even more smooth. When I put the putty on, I want it as smooth as I can possibly get it. I'm hoping I'll be able to do that. I've been watching this channel for quite some time now, trying to catch all the things that they do. It's called the NITO project, or NITO project, also Canela project. Those guys are phenomenal plasterers, and they share all the recipes online with you, on their videos with you, where to get their tools, all that stuff. So it's a great couple of guys that do a lot of plaster work. They are from Arizona. They go do a lot of stuff in Mexico. I believe they were having some workshops for a while. I think the pandemic kind of put that all on hold, so I don't know if they're back to having those or not. I should probably check into that. It might be a good thing to attend. But anyway, that's what I'm doing today. I did use scratch on all this. I'll do the whole thing with scratch, and this whole wall probably with the scratch coat as well. That way I can just keep it all consistent. So that's what we're doing today. You always wet the wall. So too, because I'm filling in those lumpy bumpy areas a little more completely, it's using a lot more of the cob plaster. So this area here that I did yesterday took 3 of my 5-gallon bucket batches to do to get them as smooth as I could possibly get with that pass. Whereas in the living room and the bedroom, that area would have only taken probably 2. So it's taking about half again as much as I was before. All right, I don't know if you can see this area. There's a little bit of a kind of a big dip. So I'm gonna try to get that all a little more level. So there'll be quite a bit of mud here, whereas other places there might not be as much. So I'm using a bit of pressure. Make sure it's going to stick to that other layer, and then I'll build it up. So again, it's not going to be perfect, but it would be much better than these wavy areas here to try to put the finished plasters on there. So here's that area I was just working on, a little spot over here I need to probably do a little bit more on. No big deal, but it's definitely a lot smoother than, say for example, this. You can see the ridgy ridges. And of course up here by these bottles, you can see, here's where you can really tell that right in this area, a bag was really protruding. But I didn't want to do anything to the bag, so we just fill it in with mud as best we can. I'm not going to build that all the way out. It's really up high. It's in the area that was going to be where we towel off after showers, so I'm not too terribly concerned about a lot of water getting on this side of the window. All right, so I got the entire west wall of the bathroom done, and part of, just a little bit because I had a little bit of mud left that I didn't need for that entire west wall. And remember, this is a scratch coat because I'm going to come along later with a lime plaster and then the lime putty to make that a waterproof area for the shower. So I still have the entire north wall of the bathroom. Not that as big of a wall or as long as of a wall as the bedroom and the living room were, but there's still quite a bit of work to do. And you can see the parts that are cob layers versus the earth bag layers. So that cob layer will probably go a lot more smoothly because it's a lot less lumpy bumpy. But I do have this area of concern where I told you that the bags had soaked all the way through. So I'm going to chip away at that a little bit, see whatever comes off freely is going to come off, and then I'll have to redo that with the long straw in that area before I do much more. So on this spot, you can really see what I'm talking about when I'm trying to say that I'm trying to level it out as much as possible. You can see the irregularity in the bag portion. This is the wall that collapsed, this north wall. And some of the bags, of course, shifted, and we kept everything that seemed very stable. So, yeah, I got to fill in these big, heavy divots, if you will, to try and get it to be a little more smooth, a little flatter, a little more level, whatever you want to call it. So that's really what I'm doing with this mud in the bathroom, is just to try, at least in the shower area, to try to get it level so it can be, you know, more waterproof, more water resistant. Water will run down it instead of maybe catching on any portion and just sitting there. So that's the goal with this room in here. We have the potential for some more storms later this week. Actually, Yes, starting Friday, I believe. If the hurricane path that's in the Pacific coming up the Baja California takes a little more easterly turn, we'll likely get rain. But if it stays where it's at right now, we probably won't, which would be a good thing. So we're going to wait that out, and then we're going to hopefully get what we need to work on that roof. We're going to do a parapet, not very tall. Dawn wants it to look level instead of like the angle that we have it all the way around. So we'll start with probably about a 4-inch parapet wall on the east sides of the building, and then that will come up to probably about a 16-inch on the, well, actually there won't be one on the west side because that's where the rain runs off. So on the north and south sides, as they gradually get taller, they'll get up to probably about a 16-inch on the west side, but we're not putting anything, no parapet on the west wall at all, because that's where our runoff goes for the rainwater. That's where we'll have the gutter, and we'll have some rainwater collections. We're not sure what we're going to put there yet, some sort of barrel type thing to catch rainwater. So we'll have a little bit of a rainwater catchment system going on there once that's all done. So that will probably be a long ways down the road. But anyway, hopefully we'll get this north wall done in here, and then we'll be able to move to the outside. If we get this done before he's ready to do anything with the roof, then I'm going to go ahead and start some line plaster repair work on the outside, especially where the cob plaster has sloughed off. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's going to be it for this week's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.